Tonight, we're going to be doing the Ignite Your Passion Masterclass. I'm Dominique DeVita of Yes Tantra. What you're going to discover today is how to eliminate emotional blocks to boost passion in your life. We often don't realize that our emotions are just energy in motion, and we are energetic beings. So we're going to dive deeper into that. You're here today because you're a curious soul. You want to reignite that spark in your life or your relationships, and you want to live a life filled with passion and creativity. So let's make your dream for more passion and creativity a reality, because it's not far away from you. We can tap into this stuff so fast by tapping into our energy centers. And if you see behind me on the wall, I have a diagram of the chakras and the energy centers there, and I have a slide in here to share with you as well. Now, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the class today. This is going to be, we're going to spend 90 minutes together. Initially, I'm just going to give you a quick background about who the heck I am, in case some of you are new to me, or you're even just curious, like what even got me started on this path, and I'll be sharing that. And then we're going to dive into the content today of the masterclass. And we're going to spend about 45 minutes there. And then I have a special program offer for those of you that feel like you really are inspired to dive even deeper and just maximize what's possible for you. I have something special that I've created, and I'll share about that. And then we're going to dive into Q&A. And so this is an opportunity for you to get your questions answered. This is a shame-free space. And I would love to guide you and answer any questions that you have, or even give you a little support if you're facing a challenge right now, and you can experience what it's like to be coached by me and how to get the most from this masterclass today. Just be present. Again, bringing your energy into the space, engage in the chat box, and take any notes if you need, and just maintain confidentiality. If anyone happens to share something during the Q&A that's more personal, we just keep that here within the space, and we don't go and share with other people outside of here. And if you want to share a person had an experience, but don't their name or nothing identifying. I've been a nurse for decades, so I'm hip to the HIPAA, so I'm very big on confidentiality. Now about me, I'm Dominique DeVita. I'm a certified master coach, trauma informed, and a certified Tantra educator. And I've been a nurse for over 3 decades. I help singles and couples and entrepreneurs tap into their inner vitality and creativity to enhance their personal life, their relationships, and their professional lives. Everything starts to shift whenever we start to do this work together. I also helping them to deepen intimacy. And so many of us have emotional blocks or intimacy blocks that we're not aware of. And when we remove those, they can have deeper intimacy within themselves and in their relationships, increase their pleasure, ramp up the magnetism, because we're like magnets. I want you to just think too, whenever you played with like refrigerator magnets, and sometimes the magnets won't go together, and then sometimes they'll repel, and then sometimes they're just drawn to one another. And we're energetic beings like that. And based on our energy, we're either drawing things to us or repelling or pushing things away from us. If we have certain boundaries, sometimes I push away things that are a negative energy, or I'm not available to, and I won't have a certain experience other people are having. This isn't to put blame on people that have had traumatic experiences and say it's all your fault. That's not what this is about, but just knowing how powerful we are. And when we can raise our vibration, our energy, and work on our magnetism, we start to manifest more and magnetize the things that our heart desires, the experiences that we want. And so it just changes how they love, how the self-love is, and how they live their life. And I've healed my past wounds. I had a lot of childhood trauma. My mother was an alcoholic, and I developed codependent patterns there, and I was responsible. I had to be the responsible one in the house. And so I had a lot of childhood wounds and traumas, and I've worked in Tantra was my first healing step in this journey. And now I enjoy healthy relationships. And it was about 12 years ago that I had my first experience with Tantra, and I was working as a nurse, and it completely changed my life. And one of the things with Tantra, it's ancient wisdom over 5,000 years ago from India. And there's also Buddhist lineages like in Tibet and things like that as well. But a lot of it is based from India. And when I became a trauma-informed master coach, and I was going through my nervous system regulation and trauma release, trauma healing modules, and learning from my coaches, I discovered that the three things that are used now to heal trauma are breath, sound, and movement. I had this light bulb moment. I was like, oh, no wonder I started my healing journey with Tantra. I would say it was like the sexual healing Marvin Gaye would sing about, but through other practices, Tantra isn't all just about sex. There's out of bed things that you do is the majority of it. But once you master all of these things within yourself, you just, a byproduct of Tantra is that you become a better lover. That's not the goal of it, but that's a juicy byproduct of it because you have a better relationship with yourself. You've healed other wounds. You're connecting more to your energy. And the more deeply we're able to connect with ourselves, the better relationship we have with ourselves, so we have better relationships with others. And since then, I've empowered hundreds through help them dramatically increase their energy, passion, leading to more fulfilling and vibrant lives. Now, this is me assisting. I also have training where I can take the role of an assisting surgeon. So if any surgery requires two surgeons, I could be the second one, and I would help with open heart surgeries, brain surgeries, spine surgeries, you name it, plastic surgeries. And here I'm working with $1 million robot. And then I would also have done a lot of humanitarian work. And this is me in Vietnam at the trauma hospital. And I went to teach the anesthesiologist advanced cardiac life support there. And I've done Vietnam volunteer work in Haiti and in Mexico. Now, I'm such a nerd. I love to learn. You see all these books behind me. I'm just such a big nerd. And when I discovered with Tantra, what was possible for me to experience that I never thought was possible at age 44, I was like, wow, that put me down the rabbit hole. I was like, if this is possible, and I didn't know that this is something possible I could experience in my very own body, what else is possible? So I've spent, over the last 12 years, I've spent tens of thousands of hours, tens of thousands of dollars just learning and researching. This year, I did a really deep dive in functional genomics, working with someone as a functional genomic practitioner on Cash Khan's team and learning about how to optimize your health by working with our DNA and our unique blueprint. And so learning how to do energy practices through energetic centers, through health and vitality and wellness, and also how to optimize your DNA so you're more energized, more vibrant, and have more longevity. So those are all things I nerd out about, and I love biohacking and all those things. So I'm a big nerd. And before Tantra, I already thought I knew everything I needed to know about sex, so much so that I was a recurring guest on Playboy Radio. And then I learned after Tantra that I had merely been scratching the surface, like the tip of the iceberg of what was possible for me. This is one of my friends, Taylor Wayne. She's in the Hall of Fame for porn, and she will say that her job is just cardio with penetration. She does not even consider it as sex. So just know what you're seeing is acting, okay? And so a lot of us learn or mislearn what should be happening in the bedroom because we're looking at people acting and we don't even know what's truly possible for us. It's really dumbing us down. I love this quote as we get started by Oprah Winfrey. Passion is energy. Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you. I love that quote. I had to share it. Now, first, I'm going to start with identifying some creativity and passion blocks that you might be having. That can be having a fear of failure, fear of not meeting expectations or being judged. That can stop your creativity. I'm a recovering perfectionist, and so that has held me back in a lot of ways. Even though I do show up, there's been many times that I would think things needed to be perfect. Now I use this acronym called DNP, done, not perfect. And anyone in here, if you relate, this perfectionism has been a challenge for you, drop a 1 in the chat and let us know. And then lack of self-belief, just doubting our abilities can hinder us from passions. And for me, that even came from like my childhood with having a stepfather, someone always being negative, and this little voice in my head all the time of, if you're going to do anything right, do it right the first time, which also led to perfectionism. And then procrastination, that's actually another form of perfectionism of many times because we want to get it just right before we do anything. And that's our way of delaying things. So putting things off, and then that increases the stress and the anxiety. And there's just a burnout. If you're just exhausted, you can have a lack of motivation and lose that passion and that creativity. Now, my journey and my transformation, I went from feeling emotionally lost and stuck in unhealthy relationship patterns to living a life filled with passion and helping thousands of people ignite their inner vitality and transform their relationships. Because not only do I work with my one-to-one clients and in group programs, I've also created many courses and master classes, and I've helped so many people through my ebooks and helping them have tools so that they can transform too. I want to share my why with you. I am on a mission to help people reignite their passion and creativity and transform their lives and relationships in ways that send ripples of positivity through families, communities, through the world. Just that ripple effect that we all are capable of creating. But the reason I started this was I knew I had a mission on my heart to help people. And I became a nurse when I was 19. And then when I was 44 and I had this experience, this was because I'll be 56 on Halloween. But when I was 44, I had this, what you would call like a Kundalini awakening, where all my chakras opened up through an experience with a lover who knew Tantra. And all my chakras opened up, and my third eye open and my crown chakra open, and I was forever shifted. And most people, I'll share more in a bit, were blocked in our heart chakra. And so what happens with that is it blocks us from connecting with other people as well, right? We're shut down there. And I was very guarded from a lot of childhood wounds and unhealthy relationships. And I was really armored up. And a lot of us do that as a protection mechanism. It's really blocking out amazing things from happening more than protecting us, but it's something a lot of us do. So again, from mother-father wound, unhealthy relationships, and we just armor up. And I learned that with Tantra, those are the tools to truly open heart. So I went from helping with open heart surgeries, and I was like, this is what people need in the world to open their hearts up. Another thing I would see with my patients, also working in critical care and ICU for decades and taking care of people in their most challenging moments, and sometimes guiding them as they're in their final moments of life, and them sharing their regrets with me. And it was just to break my heart. And there's nothing I can do. I could give them compassion and dignity, but there was nothing I could do to change any of their experiences for them. It's just too late. So I thought, if I start teaching Tantra and helping people, then I can meet them at an earlier point in their timeline instead of when they've ended up in the hospital. And then also by guiding them on how to optimize their health, then maybe they can even avoid having such a crisis that they would need to be in the hospital. And whenever they do take their last breath, they won't have regrets. So I started initially working as a nurse part-time and coaching part-time for several years. And then 4 years ago this month, I went all in on coaching. And this is my why that I do this, because I noticed also with my patients, their energy seemed stagnant. A lot of them had a lot of traumas or emotional traumas. And in our Western world with the medical system, we don't address those things. And I was like, there's something more here that is creating this within people. And a lot of times our symptoms in our body are actually a way of our body communicating to us of certain emotional things that we blocked or suppressed or repressed, things, traumas or hurts that we need to work on. And our body's just trying to get our attention. But the modern medical world doesn't focus on that. And right now, everyone, since I'm sharing these slides with you, I can't look at the chat. So we're going to have Q&A if anyone popped in later at the end. So I will be able to look at the questions then. Now, who this training is for, this is for you if you're exhausted from the daily grind and know it's time to reignite your passion and energy. You're fed up with uninspiring relationships and eager to connect with your inner fire. And you don't need to have a partner to do that. You're ready to break free from stress and infuse creativity into your life. This is not for you if you're content with your current level of energy and you don't want to explore deep personal growth. You're comfortable sticking with old patterns and not interested in challenging yourself to change. You're content with your comfort zone, which usually isn't very comfortable, and not seeking to spark creativity in your life. Now, today we're going to be covering 3 different secrets. 1, how to identify and release energy blocks that shut down that creativity and passion. And then how to set energetic boundaries to protect your energy. And then how to tap into your sacral energy and your sacral chakra to boost creativity, pleasure, and passion. And everyone hydrate. One of the things that supports the sacral chakra, it's a water center, is also drinking water. So my goal today is to help you to master your energy, because when you master your energy, you master your life. In our modern world, we're conditioned or programmed to believe that when we get the marriage, get the degree, get the house, have the kids, have the fancy car, X number of dollars in our bank account, that everything is going to start being great for us. That's the lie that we've been sold. And that's created the rat race, right? The trappings of success. But we don't realize is that if we want to create changes in our outer world, if we want to manifest things, if we want to experience something different, it's an inside out game. Our outer world, what's going on out here, is a reflection of your inner world. So if you want to powerfully change your outer world, it starts with mastering your inner world, mastering your energy, mastering your emotions. Having this mastery of self is key. You master that, you're going to master your life. That unlocks everything. But we're not going to be good consumers with buying all of the things that are all in all the ads trying to get us to buy, that we put our money into. We're not going to be good consumers if we realize that we've got a lot of treasure here within us. There's like buried treasure within you. When I coach and work with my clients, I like to think of Michelangelo and the statue of David. Michelangelo was asked, how did he, carve and sculpt the statue of David out of this big rock or stone? How did you do that? And Michelangelo's response was, I just simply chipped away the things that didn't belong. And so whenever I work with someone, it's not that they're broken and you're broken, there's something wrong with you. It's that we have either subconscious programming, limiting beliefs, things that we've taken on by society, by culture, by our parents, by religion, all these different things that give us shame, etc. And we've taken all this on and forgotten how truly amazing we are. So all I do when I work with my clients is just, they're already masterpieces, but let's just remove the things that are weighing you down, holding you back, not allowing you to fully emerge as your masterpiece. And this helps you to break free. So if you've been feeling stuck or powerless, that's just temporary. Shifting your energy, that's the key. And that's how you can live a passionate life filled with love, joy, and creativity and bliss. I'm going to share a personal story here. I remember the days when my temper would flare over the smallest things. I could go from 0 to 100 so fast. It was exhausting and alienating. Some days I felt like I was pushing everyone away, even my daughters. And everything changed for me when I dove deep into Tantra and energy mastery. Because again, emotions are energy emotions. So that helped me work with my emotions. So I learned to pause, reflect, and respond rather than react. And again, my mother was an alcoholic. So I thought I was doing such a good job with my daughters because I was sober and I was breaking that cycle of generations, and I wasn't drinking like so many generations before me. But I would still rage and react the way I had seen in my household with my mom, because when someone's drunk, my mom was a raging alcoholic. And she would get really angry and temperamental. And so that's what I got used to. And I realized that I was like a dry drunk in a way. Like I would rage or yell, and wasn't physically abusive, but I would yell and handle things in not the best way. And then my children didn't feel as safe with me. And unfortunately, I didn't discover Tantra until they were adults. But thank goodness now we've healed that relationship. But I'm telling you, everything changed. And I read a lot of books, and my older daughter would tell me that she would see me read self-help books, and she's like, you would read the self-help books, and for a little while things would change and you would be different. And then after you would stop reading that book, you would go back to the same thing, because we have these patterns, right? That many times we're unaware that these patterns are playing out. We think that knowledge is power, but when we implement that knowledge and we embody it, that's when it's power. If we just hold it up in here in our minds and we intellectualize it, but we don't apply it to our lives and know how to actually have it be within how we be and operate now as a human, we don't create the change. And she said, it wasn't until Tantra that you really changed. And with that, and with all the work that I've continued to do, now I have such an even healthier relationship than ever with my daughters. And so this doesn't just help with relationships with family members, it helps with friends, coworkers, family, everyone. So it's really amazing. Now, why is this important to you? Empowerment. You can take your power back. Your ability to respond instead of react is empowering. I used to be very reactive, but I learned that my ability to respond is my responsibility. One of the things that helped me the most with this is I would just remember people's behavior is a reflection on them. My response to their behavior is a reflection on me. So I just needed to focus on how I was responding instead of just getting really angry or upset if something wasn't going my way. And then I would go off sometimes. So luckily now my daughters are calling me. They're like, Mom, I need some Zen. I'm very chill now. Thank goodness. But just imagine a future where you're no longer held back by emotional or energetic blocks, or you're not damaging relationships with angry outbursts. And so this is a major transformation that's possible, not just minor changes. These are making big shifts, like big hinges, moving big doors and opening up your whole world to you. So that can impact your life in beautiful ways and your relationships. You could spend years facing emotional blocks alone, stay stuck in frustrating cycles without help. I did that for 44 years. It wasn't fun. But right now, I'm going to give you some tools that have helped me to really break free from that so that you can have a quick way to accelerate your growth. And so you can start to identify these blocks and understand what could be holding you back. And then that can open up more creativity, more passion, deepen your relationships by having these tools at your fingertips. Now, secret number 2, how to set energetic boundaries to protect your energy. I want you to think of one visual that I use is I think of people are either a faucet or a drain. So I say choose wisely. There's always those people that can really drain your energy, and you'll know how you feel when you're around them. Your body will tell you if you pay attention. Or there's also people that pour into you. And sometimes you might need your friends to pour into you, but it needs to be a reciprocal thing. But if they're constantly draining you and they never pour back, be aware of that. I just did a post on my Instagram the other day about energetic vampires. So it's really important to set boundaries to protect your energy from things that are draining you. And define your limits. I define mine. I have a new way of looking at boundaries based on my values, and just know what you are and are not willing to tolerate in your life, and be able to communicate those things. And remember, prioritize yourself, because every time you say yes to someone else, you're saying no to yourself. You need to stop saying no to yourself. And now whenever someone invites me to do something, even if I feel pretty pumped about it, I'm like, yeah, I think I really would want to do that, because I am a recovering people pleaser. I give myself space to pause. So start for a week or so. I invite you to just let people know, say, oh, thanks so much for sharing that with me or asking me. Let me just take some time. I'll let you know. And if it's something that's more pressing that you need to let them know within 24 hours, say, give me some time to sit with that and I'll get back to you in 24 hours, or I'll get back to you next week. Okay. And start to do that so you can just get practice even saying that to someone, and just sit with it and really sit and feel like, okay, how do I really feel about this, where I'm not pressured to respond. So how I realized I was having negative energy was I heard someone say, try to go 24 hours without saying anything negative. I was like, oh, that's no big deal. Easy peasy. And I did that, and I didn't realize how hard it was to not say anything negative for 24 hours. And if you look at it, we're bombarded all the time with negative things in the media, negative news. So one of the things I'll encourage my clients to do too is to have a trusted news source, but don't stay on the news all the time and be plugged into that, because there's a lot of negativity in that. And even watching TV and your lyrics, your songs, we are immersed in negativity. We've been swimming in it so long, we don't realize it. So I did that, and I was like, wow, that was interesting. And I had someone that was also a travel nurse with me, and we were really close friends. We hung out a lot together in LA, and misery loves company. So we would commiserate and talk about victim mindset stuff, and we would just go into our problems together. And when I started making this shift, asked her one day, I said, hey, could you try this like exercise? Could you just do 24 hours? We're on the phone without saying negative. And she was like, yeah, I'll try to. And that's the last phone conversation I ever had with her. We remain Facebook friends. Once every few years, she'll send me a birthday text or something like that. But she realized I wasn't going to be available for that. And she wasn't wanting to shift. So when you start to change this, some relationships may fall away, but know that sometimes we have to clear things out and make space for other things to come in. So it was actually the best thing for me since I was on this new journey, and it didn't have to be like an argument or anything like that. It's just when your energy starts to change, some of those lower vibrational things that you might be tired of, they remove themselves when you start to shift because we're energetic beings. Now, one thing I did, I want to show this pendulum here. When I first started trying to not be negative, I swung, we do this a lot. I overcorrected and I swung the pendulum too far the other way. And then I leaned a little bit almost to toxic positivity. My doctors would call me out on that. They're like, oh my gosh, mom, this toxic positivity. And I was like, you guys are just, I'm just happy over here. But then I realized there was a lot of other things I wasn't addressing. So that's a whole other thing. So just know it's best to make little small shifts into it. Don't find yourself, if you notice that you do these things, don't shame yourself, make yourself bad or wrong, or feel like, oh, I need to go extreme in this other direction, right? So just want to share that. So this is important because these things are important because it can help you shift your life by mastering having energetic boundaries. And then we attract positive energy because again, like attracts like. So when you're higher vibration and higher energy, you're going to attract higher vibration people, experiences, opportunities, everything starts to shift. And you'll start to also feel more energized because you're not going to be allowing people to drain your energy. You know, we will look and pay attention to how we charge up our phone. And if the battery's low, we'll make sure our devices are okay, but we don't make sure that we're okay. How often are we just in the red or in the negative and we're not charging up our energy and we're allowing things to continue to drain us? So again, taking action is, I went way ahead there. Here we go. Taking action is in protecting energy. Again, you could spend months trying to do that and figure out boundaries on your own. When I went through my trauma informed master coach program, I learned from an amazing mentor and coach of mine, Alexi Panos, and she taught boundaries in a way that I've never seen taught before. And it went so deep. And so I share some of the things that she taught me that I'm able to share, but it's a whole new way of doing boundaries that is so powerful. And you look at your values and it just makes it such a simple process. But even some of these other little things are going to help you. Often too, we can get stuck in these patterns and these cycles. So you can continue to allow those things to impact you and stay stuck in that if you don't create the shift. But whenever you start to shift this and do this, you can start to attract positive energy. So you apply this and you'll understand your energy and then be able to protect it and raise your vibration and start to attract better energy your way. So now we're going to go into secret number 3, how to tap into your sacral energy to boost creativity, pleasure, and passion. So again, creativity, unlocking that creative potential that's within all of us. Pleasure, boost your sense of pleasure and enjoyment in life, in your body and your life, and ignite your passion and enthusiasm for life. So right here's a diagram of the chakras, and the image of the woman is down at the bottom. At the base of your spine, you have the root chakra, and then right below your belly button, you have the sacral chakra. And this chakra is connected to our passion center. This is our creation center. And our creative energy, well, I'll just say something here. There's a lot of shame. And so if you have kids around, you might want to put headphones on because I'm going to use adult language here. There's a lot of shame in our society around our sexual energy, but our sexual energy is our life force energy. It is our chi energy. We were literally created from sexual energy. And our sexual energy is in our sacral chakra. Our sacral chakra is connected to our reproductive organs. And it's also connected to our mouth, which is interesting. So that's why a lot of times when people might be celibate or they're not having a satisfying sex life, they'll turn to food to stimulate that chakra. Have you ever heard anyone say, oh my gosh, this tastes better than sex? That's they're stimulating it through the mouth. They're binge eating and things like that when it's not being stimulated the other way. Because they're, especially for women, we've been conditioned in society to feel so much shame, and men have too, around our sexual energy, our sexuality. And so good girls don't do this or that. So we shut it down. And that's what I would see in my patients. A lot of even my older patients that I was seeing were having like reproductive cancers and things like that. I could just sense that they were completely sexually shut down from that energy like that. Maybe their husband or spouse had died and they never pleasured themselves anymore and they weren't experiencing that anymore. And that energy is stagnant. I want you to think of like a body of water, like a river. And when a river is flowing, and I did a little reel on this the other day on my Instagram too, when the water is flowing and the river is flowing, that's like healthy energy, just like when your chakras, when the energy is flowing through you, not stuck. But when we have a block, it's almost like a kink in a water hose. Now I want you to imagine water that's still and stagnant, like at a pond or something. At the top of it, there's a film on top of the water. And that's just a great kind of petri dish for bacteria and for disease to grow. Again, disease to grow in our bodies. So that's when we have stuck and stagnant energy. The same thing happens within our energetic body. So that's why this is so important. And we don't have to just use our sexual energy to create a human life. We can focus that energy to create the life our heart desires. So if we, and what blows my mind again about there being shame about this is, again, we were literally created from this energy. So why are we shamed about that? There should be no shame in such creation. This really brought us into existence now. And if we want to hit a powerful reset button on our lives, what better thing to do than to tap into that same energetic center and that same energy that brought us into existence? Remember, it's around by the navel, where our umbilical cord was, where we started, right? It's all connected. And then you see the chakras here flowing, and the green chakra here is with your heart chakra. And that connects the upper chakras, your throat chakra. You might have trouble using your voice, expressing yourself, or I'm not as talkative as when I first met someone here that knew me from my childhood that's here with us today. But I was very talkative because it was like my throat chakra was overactive. Now there's the third eye chakra, which is for your intuition. Your crown chakra helps you have discernment and guidance. And your heart chakra, again, connects the upper and the lower ones, but it also connects you with the world around you. And then below the heart, you have your solar plexus, and that has to do with like your willpower, your courage. A lot of that is there. And then the root chakra has to do with mother, father, so mother, father wounds, safety, your tribe. All of those are connected with the root chakra. This is like really jumping full speed ahead. It's ready for me to be done. Okay. I do one little click and it goes all the way to the end. Okay. These are the things that can drain life force energy: negative thoughts, constantly worrying and stressing. Because one thing that I will say is I have to remind myself of this too. Is me worrying and getting so stressed going to change the outcome, or is it just lowering my energy and zapping me from being able to find a solution? Is it making my current reality even worse than it is? Right? Having toxic relationships. I definitely had toxic relationships, and that can also drain your energy, leaving you feel drained, lack of sleep. I'm sure now to get at least, usually I get 8, sometimes I get 7.5. I'm very diligent about my sleep. And then poor diet, like processed foods, a lot of sugary drinks, those can give you a quick energy burst, but then you have a crash. Now here's the sacral chakra, and that is connected to passion. Again, it's located just below the navel, your belly button. It governs your emotions, creativity, sensuality, sexual energy. When balanced, it enhances the ability to experience pleasure, joy, passionate connection, both in relationship and in creative pursuits. So if you want to just put your hands like right below your belly button and give that little area of your body a hug, and imagine like some warm orange light, because it's color orange, flowing through there. And then just breathe nice and deep into your belly. into the space where your hands are, and just say these affirmations out loud to yourself. If you're just say, I embrace vibrant energy and creative power. Just breathe that in. And I allow myself to feel pleasure and express my desires. So important. Just notice for a moment. You can even close your eyes and feel in what you're noticing and how you're connecting to your body. So the top things that block the sacral chakra are repressing your emotions. We stuff things down, and repression and suppression lead to depression. Okay. And that it limits your joy, toxic relationships, lack of pleasure when you continue to deny yourself pleasure or sensual experiences, or expressing yourself with your creativity. And trigger warning, if you've had any experience with sexual trauma or guilt, past trauma, sexual shame, can block that free flow of energy. And I do have a healing from sexual shame mini course that's super helpful with this, because it's more common. We start being programmed to have our first subconscious experiences with shame as early as 15 months of age. And also being very rigid and controlling, right? So you're not spontaneous. You're like, maybe there's something where you always have to feel like super in control. And I used to be like this too. And that impacts our sacral chakra. Now, this is why this is so important is here. This is the energy, the emotional frequency scale. This is showing you the energy of your emotions. Shame is at the lowest vibration. At the very bottom there, 20 hertz. It's even lower than fear and anger and hate. Now, when you get to the feeling of love, that's vibrating at 500. When you want to attract money into your life, you need to be vibrating at around the frequency of, I believe, like 250 to 280. So, we're always programmed and bombarded with these things that shame us, bring us a lot of fear, get us upset. But when we're lowering our vibration as a society, we're easier to control. When we're higher vibration, it's harder to control us. And we're like, more possibility is available for us, and we can experience a much better life. So like self-love and all these things are really important. So we're shifting that energy. So again, at the bottom is when you're contracted and you're in fear, and then when you're expanded. And your auric field with your energy can be felt. Have you ever noticed whenever someone walks in a room, how the energy of the room can shift? Or you can see someone in their energy and you're like, I would want to avoid that person. Or, oh my gosh, a moth to a flame, I'm drawn to that person. Because you can't fake energy. Energy is everything. So again, things that can support your sacral chakra: creative expression, movement and flow, water activities, then sensual enjoyment, even through your senses, through eating in a sensual way, taking your time and being slower with it, smelling flowers, essential oils. Avoid fragrances and perfumes and these air fresheners, because those are hormone disruptors and they're really having a negative impact on your health. Trust me on that one. Then having healthy boundaries and breath work and meditation. In a moment, I'm going to guide you through some really powerful breath work that's going to really raise your energy and connect you more deeply. So again, this is important because it unlocks that passion, boosts your vitality, which is your life force energy, which helps you to live longer and have a healthier life. So again, the impact on your health is with your physical health. If this chakra is blocked, you're going to have chronic fatigue, weakened immune system, digestive issues, headaches, muscle aches. Mental health, you can have anxiety, depression, irritability, lack of motivation, difficulty concentrating. And in relationships, strained relationships, difficulty connecting with others, and social withdrawal. Now, to optimize your energy, see this guy over here? Being in the sunlight, especially sunlight early in the day, the first part of the light is the best. It has some red light, and it helps also, first thing when you wake up, you want to expose yourself to sunlight. And that helps to start your melatonin and your circadian rhythms and set your sleep cycle. So that's super helpful. And then also movement, dance. And it doesn't have to be vigorous exercise, just moving your body, dancing, and walking. I do a lot of walks is really helpful. And then one of my coaches is Preston Smiles, and he has this thing called Dance Yourself Clean. And dancing is really big also in Tantra because it also helps because you have breath, sound, and movement. It helps you breathe more deeply. You're using sound, you're listening to sound. If you're singing along, you're moving and you're moving that energy through your body. Again, like the river, you're getting things flowing. And so he'll have this practice where he says, dance yourself clean. So if you're feeling a stuck emotion or low energy or sad, you can put on some music that evokes that feeling even more and let it out and feel all the feels. You don't want to just do toxic positivity, right? But then you can change the song and then just dance. And it's literally like dance like no one is watching. Close your eyes and just feel like how your body wants to move. And I like to do Taylor Swift Shake It Off. There's a tantra practice called the Shiva Shake, and you just shake your head, your toes, your booty, your feet, everything, and shake it out. And that's a great nervous system reset too. But just dance yourself clean, just dance and let that energy move through your body. And again, hydration is essential, and nourishment, giving yourself unprocessed foods for lasting energy. So I used to feel constantly drained giving my energy to everyone around me. I was very much a people pleaser. And I learned that in my childhood because my mother's needs came before my own. So I just learned to tune into what everyone else needed. And I did not set boundaries for myself because when you live with a drunk person, you never learn or get modeled to you what boundaries are. So I just felt really stuck and I wasn't able to focus on my own creativity or passions because I was too busy pouring into other people and not pouring in ourselves. So with tantric self-love and self-love practices, why it's so important is I want you to imagine like a cup and a saucer, and you need to fill your cup up, and the overflow from that cup into your saucer is what you give to others. How often are we trying to pour into others from an empty cup? And then it's just really depleting and draining us, and it builds resentment within us. It's not healthy for our relationships. So I'm going to guide everyone I'm going to stop sharing this screen for just a moment because I want to see everyone here. I'm going to guide everyone into like a little breath work. So if you want to grab some water, get your body comfortable. And I'm going to guide you into something that's going to work around your sacral chakra. We're going to build some energy up. It's a little late in the day to do this, but I'm also going to do another one to bring the energy back down. So here, I'll share with you. So if you're female and you are pregnant or you're on your period, you're not going to want to do this first one. This is called the breath of fire. I think of it as like liquid Drano. It really clears the channel so that our energy gets to be flowing. So I'm going to guide you on how to do this. So what you're going to do is right again, where your sacral chakra is, what you're going to do there is that's where the movement is going to be happening. You're just going to be contracting in and out. There's a few parts to this. So I'll go first with first, we're going to do like this. You're going to breathe in and out through your nose. You might want to have some tissue handy because bats can fly out of the cave, but you're going to breathe evenly in and out through your nose. And it's almost like rhythm, like a dog panting like this. But instead, you're going to just only do through your nose because when you breathe in and out through your nose, it energizes you. When you breathe through your mouth, it cools you down. So you're going to be like this. And it's going to be equal breaths, equal in and out. So you don't hyperventilate. But what's going to be pulling that breath, it's not the force of it is going to be coming from here. So if you can put your hand here and then go as you're breathing in and out through your nose, just go like you're pulling real quick a string to your belly button back toward your spine and letting it out. So we're going to try that. We're going to do that for 1 minute. We're going to do a round of 1 minute. Are you able to hear me now? Okay, good. So just now close your eyes, put your one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and close your eyes and just bring that energy inward, all that energy brought up. And just notice any sensations you feel in your body. Now put in the chat a yes or a no, a Y or N. Did anyone feel like there was more energy? You feel more energized after doing that? This is really great if you're trying to quit a habit. It gives you a lot of willpower. If you feel that afternoon slump, like you need an extra coffee, then, that will be a boost instead of taking that caffeine that can give you the drop later. You don't want to usually do it too late in the day, but I did want to teach that this evening, but I'm going to give you one to calm you down, and we didn't do too long on it. But I'm going to bring you into something that is awesome. Awesome. I love that. So nice to see everyone. So I'm going to bring you into doing something called a cosmic breath. This is really great to do before you're going to do a meditation, before you're going to pleasure yourself or make love to someone. You'll feel so much more pleasure if you do this practice. So this is a cosmic breath. I want you to put your this is easier. Now, your hands in your lap with your palms facing up, because that's the receptive mode. And then I want you to take a long, slow, deep inhale through your nose. And I want you to expand your belly like a balloon with air. And then a long, slow, deep exhale through your mouth. Gently this time, relaxing your belly to your spine. Long, slow inhale through your nose. Expanding your belly. Long, slow, deep exhale through your mouth. Gently relaxing to your spine. Long, slow, deep inhale through your nose. Long, slow, deep exhale out through your mouth. Now go at a rate that feels good for you. Just the invitation here is for each breath to be longer, slower, and deeper. And if you feel safe where you are, allow your eyes to close down, because where your attention goes, energy flows, and we want to bring your energy within you. So it's just a circular breath. And I'm just going to guide you through a body scan as we do this. And just focus on long, slow, deep inhales and exhales. And I want you to just relax the top of your head where your scalp is. Let go of any tension. The top of your head. Relax the muscles in your forehead. Let go of any tension in your eyebrows. Soften your eyes. Relax the muscles to your face. Soften your lips. Allow your tongue to relax in the bottom of your mouth. And allow your jaw to drop and relax. We can hold a lot of tension in our jaw. Now allow your shoulders to drop down and relax. If you feel, you can put one ear to one shoulder and stretch, and then your ear to the other shoulder and stretch, and then just allow your shoulders to fully drop and relax. Continue with slow, deep breaths. You're doing great. And now relax from your shoulders, down your arms, through your forearms, all the way out through your fingertips. And relax from your chest, down your torso, all the way through your hips. Now relax from your hips, down your thighs, your lower legs, your feet, all the way out through your toes. Your body should be fully relaxed. If you notice any tingling sensations in your hand, that's just your body connecting, dropping in energetically. Now with breath, sound is like a thief and it steals the tension from your body. So we're going to do this. We're going to go take a deep breath in, hold it at the top. When you exhale, make some sound and sigh, go ha, and just let it out. We're going to do this 3 times. Take a deep breath in and then let it exhale with sound with a sigh, ha. And then do that one more time. Take a deep breath in, hold it at the top, hold it, and then exhale with sound, ha. Let that go. Just notice your body. Drop in. Notice how you're feeling. Feeling any different? And then just put one hand on your heart and say, I am loved. One hand on your belly. I am safe. And then whenever you're ready, just slowly blink your eyes open and return to the space around you. If you felt any tingling in your hands, just drop a 1 in the comments and let me know. I'd love to know how that was for you. And if you didn't feel any tingling or anything like that, then no judgment. It just might take you a little longer to really be able to connect and do this practice so you can relax more, because when we're tense, it can be more challenging for us. So nice to see so many people that I know online and in real life here. I'm really loving it. Oh yeah. So I wanted to do that because the other one is a higher energy one, and I don't want to wind you up too much before it's the evening to relax, but I want you to have both of these things that you can lean into, whether you're trying to slow down, feel more pleasure, more bliss or connection with yourself and with a partner. And also if you really need to ramp up your energy instead of like grabbing a coffee or something like that. Okay. I just have a few more slides to share, but thanks. Yeah, more practice. Yes. Yes, definitely, definitely. And that's okay. This is just the first time. You're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. So we did that practice. And so just to recap, you just learned how to identify and release those energy blocks that can block your creativity, can reduce your passion, how to set those boundaries, and how to tap into your sacral energy to boost creativity, pleasure, and passion. This is your creation center. This is where you get all the juiciness comes from in your life. And whenever we're trying to be the good girl, or if we're being celibate, but we're not enjoying our own bodies, remember, you are your longest lasting relationship from your first breath to your last. And if anyone deserves to enjoy your body, it's you. And pleasure is medicine. So connecting with this, keeping the flow of energy going, and loving on yourself and having pleasure instead of something that is shameful for you, or if you do self-pleasure rituals, have it as a self-love experience for yourself. It can be really deeply empowering. So I'm just going to share some things, just not what I'm saying experiences within this for me, but there's some other people, just beautiful souls like you, that have experienced changes. And I do change the names, and I don't have their actual photos here because you can imagine with tantra coaching and sex coaching, not everyone wants to come forward and say that they work with me. So I always want to honor people's privacy. But this is an experience of a client. Their transformation was, before working with me, they felt completely disconnected from life and relationships. And when they joined my coaching program, we focused on opening up her chakras and her energy center, so she's more vibrant and radiant, and working in on self-love. And when we start to master that, everything changes, because again, the relationships are just mirroring back to us the relationship we have with ourselves. So when we want to have healthier relationships outside of us, or we want to heal a relationship, like I want to heal a relationship with my daughters or someone I'm dating or whatever, it starts with me healing this relationship within myself. Because when I start to change here, then what's being mirrored back to me is differently. It creates a ripple effect. I'm not saying only one person should be working on their relationship, right? But I've worked with couples that one person wasn't interested in Tantra or didn't even know the other person was doing it. And their relationship radically shifts just from the work we do together. That's the next person I'm going to share about. Now she feels deeply connected to her life force energy and her relationships are thriving. Now, this is Deborah. Her husband didn't know she was working with me. She was struggling in her marriage. It was lacking passion. Her husband was gaining a lot of weight, wasn't interested in busting the moves on her. And he seemed like he was really deeply depressed. And so I worked with her with some things too they were struggling. And through my coaching program, she learned how to balance her feminine energy to ignite that spark back in her marriage. Because your masculine, we're all a balance of masculine and feminine energy. Men are more of a balance of masculine and feminine than women because they have the XY chromosome. And when in the patriarchal world, if we're going to be taken seriously in the workforce, women, we get used to leaning into our masculine, but then it causes challenges in our relationships because if we're both in our masculine, then that spark is missing. And I dive deeper into that in my programs. But today her marriage is thriving. She understands how approaching her husband from her masculine was a turnoff for both of them. And it took about 60 days for her to see those results. And all of a sudden he started working out again, the renewed passion, the relationship. He was making surprise dates for her and her daughter and gifting them and doing all kinds of things. It was really beautiful to see the impact that had. Now, this is David. He is a very successful in like Fortune 500 companies, top CEO, and doing that intense work. And he was in his 60s, but for decades, and just being a workaholic and being super successful took a toll on his nervous system. And he started having a heart condition called atrial fibrillation because he was having a lot of stress and anxiety. And then when we started working together, he wasn't working on the traditional Tantra things on how to be a better lover, or for male clients, I'll teach men how to be multi-orgasmic and have stamina for hours. And he had already mastered that before working with me. So he just wanted the nervous system regulation part. And whenever he started calming his nervous system, his wife started initiating sex with him again. He was like, wow, I don't know what's going on. I said, how long has it been since she's initiated sex with you? He is like, it's been decades, like 10, 20 years. And so that desire came back. But what we don't realize is women were very intuitive. So even if a man is trying to come home and put on a brave face and act like everything is okay, and unfortunately our society, we act like men shouldn't connect with their emotions. They're always so much pressure to be the protector, the provider, the strong one, right? But they're human, having a human experience, which includes emotions. But him just holding all that in, he was thinking she wasn't experiencing it, but she energetically was feeling that. And him being so stressed out and a bundle of nerves was a turnoff for her, and was again that repelling energy like the magnets. And he says, I had no idea that my stress and my nervous system was what was causing this. Also, another thing I do a lot with consulting with my clients to optimize their health. And he was traveling across the country to pay out of pocket to see a functional cardiologist. And I asked him to let me know his medications that he was on. And I said, one of those medications, when did you start taking it? He was like, oh, 6 months ago. A side effect of that is atrial fibrillation. And I was like, don't stop without talking to your doctor first. But when you go to see your functional cardiologist, can you ask him about this and see if they want to change your medication? And he said, yeah, sure enough, the cardiologist agreed that medication needed to be changed. So by doing all these things, he started, his relationship improved, his health improved. It took him about 6 months. And then he went on this whole healing journey. He's done so many things after that because that just opened up his whole world for him. He's just really living life to the fullest. It's been so amazing to watch those shifts within him. So what will your story be? And I want you to think about this. Like, one, is it going to be about transformation, having more success in your life, your relationships, health and vitality? And so 1, 2, 3, or 4, what area of your life would you love to create a shift in? If you can drop that in the chat, I'd love to see. Oh, I love this comment here. That's beautiful. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And you can do all of them. That's amazing, Connor. Yeah. And someone shares here, I learned some of this on how to treat myself like my most passionate and desired partner. It really taught me to let go of shame, embarrassment, and taught me to give myself the energy that I deserve and self-pleasure without resistance. Yes, yes. To be truly free. Now I'm ready for the next steps in my life. I've been single my entire life. Oh, Although I dated often until 20 years ago, when I decided to use my energy elsewhere. I totally get that. I just finished like a 2-year period of being celibate. I do that too. It can be healing to focus and do the things for ourselves, because I think in our world, unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how to have healthy relationships. Because one thing I learned, over 95% of adults received inadequate in parenting. And parents are our first models of relationships. So we have these childhood wounds that we're repressing or suppressing, not addressing. We're acting like, oh, that's back in the past. It's not impacting me anymore. But in our subconscious, it is. And it's popping up in our relationships and how we relate to one another. And that's why there's so much breakup and dysfunctional relationships and divorces. So it's really important to address those things. So yes, love that. Transformation, loving that. Awesome, awesome. So again, drop a 1 in the chat if you're ready to learn how to make that a reality in your life. If you feel like ready to create a change and a shift. Amazing. Loving it. Awesome. Amazing. So I'm just going to share real quick, and then we're going to get into Q&A. And if we go over a few minutes, that's okay with me. I have time to continue. I'll be here to answer everyone's questions. But would you like to know how I can help you even more? I'd love to share something something really epic that I have created. I want to share with you. And it is my Vitality Mastermind. I have had groups where I coach women on orgasmic manifestation. I also coach one-to-one with clients on that. I've also had men's groups where I help men to be better lovers and rock their women's worlds and master their sexual energy too. But I have never had a space where I brought people together. And I think it's really important to have a safe co-ed space where we can have these conversations and dive deeper and understand what are the challenges. Because I think when we're in relationship, we can be defensive. And if our partner says, when this happens, it makes me feel like this, and then we feel attacked, so we go into defense mode. But in a safe space like this, where can be a safe community of people with the same goal, if we could just understand, instead of the battle of the sexes, I want to create a bridge to where we can be allies to one another. And if we understood the challenges without it being charged of we're feeling attacked of the other person, and we could understand, and then that could help us so much more. And we could be supportive of one another and learn from one another. It would be really beautiful. So this is my first time to do something in a co-ed space. In this, the benefits of the mastermind, you're going to have community with diverse, empowering individuals. Men and women unite in a safe, respectful space to create deep healing and enhance understanding across genders and have better relationships. The schedules there will be bi-weekly group coaching calls, then monthly masculine and feminine sessions. And these will be like a women's only and a man's only session where I'll guide you through tantra, intimacy, so much more, sensual practices. It gets really juicy in there. And then that way, if you're embarrassed to ask a question in front of the opposite sex, you have that kind of space to do that. And then we'll also there'll be some monthly master classes where I'll be teaching something, and other months instead of that, there'll be some world-class guest speakers that are going to share their magic within the group. And there'll be over $50,000 worth of value in the coaching, the master classes, and resources. I'm also giving everyone access to my vault of all my master classes, sex positive master classes, and more. And this is going to help you realize your full potential, increase your creativity, improve your productivity, have better relationships, more pleasure, more orgasmicness. And one of my male clients will share with me is, now when I have my orgasm, I can feel my pleasure from the top of my head to my big toe. This is really incredible. You can experience pleasure like you've never imagined before, because we never have received the sex education we deserve. So again, this is a 6-month mastermind to help you elevate your health, your energy, your relationships. And I'm just going to go through a few frequently asked questions. You don't need to have any prior energy work or tantra experience with that. This is beginners will be in a safe space here, be fully supported. You don't need to have a partner to begin. It just all begins with you and the connection you have with you. And then you can invite someone in if you want, or a lot of people will attract a divine partnership after working with me and mastering these techniques. And it says, will this help me if I've been stuck in low energy and feel disconnected for years? And yeah, like many people who join my programs have felt disconnected and low energy for a long time. And these are designed to release those energy blocks, restore your vitality, and reignite your passion for life, no matter how long you've been feeling stuck. So what we'll cover in there is, again, I said the biweekly calls already, the male and female only classes, and then again, going into some advanced techniques on nervous system regulation. It's a game changer in how you show up in your business and your relationships. Somatics, sexual wellness and health, and holistic health. And then my transformational Tantra Vault, you'll have resources on that. It includes my Intro to Tantra course and my Orgasmic Manifestation Method program, which usually by itself sells for, when I guide people through, that's a $5,000 course. That's all inside. And then there's an opportunity to upgrade. So if you want to do the mastermind and then get one-hour coach with me, a coaching session privately with me to dive even deeper, to get more support, or there's something even extra outside of this that you're wanting guidance on, because I help people on a wide range of things, or you're just like, I'm just going all in. Like, I want to make the biggest shift I can in the shortest amount of time, because that's what we can always get, money back, but we don't get time back. But when we can compress time and get through to the results more quickly and save time and make that quantum leap and these quantum shifts, then your life starts getting better faster. And everything gets to be so incredible. So the value for everything that is included here is $54,995. But today you can get this for $69.97. I have a special offering. Let me drop the link into the chat if anyone wants to check it out. And it also there are payment plans available too. Let me go into the chat, and I'm going to just drop the link here if anyone wants to check that out. And then we're going to open up into Q&A. But when you do check that out, if you use just until Sunday, there's a discount code to save the $1,000 off to make it $69.97. And the code is Vitality in all caps, because the Vitality Mastermind. So that's that. And I'm just going to leave this for a second as we get started to do Q&A. You can just get your phones out and scan that, and it will also take you to that if you want to check it out. And then I want to dive into answering any questions that you have, or if you're wanting special guidance on something, because this is where things get really exciting, when we can really just dive in and start applying these things. And I also want to add in here, I've shared a lot of information through slides, right? But again, it's like a lot of information to take in. I want you to notice how much your energy actually shifted, or you felt a change when we did a practice. So when I teach you all these practices and different tools that you're able to use and have and be more resourced, like, everything changes. Because again, it's not just reading a self-help book. It's like implementing the knowledge, putting it into action, and starting to live your life in a different way. So I'm just going to stop sharing the screen there so I can ask any questions. So anyone want to raise their hand? You have any questions at all, or anything that came up for you as I've been sharing today? I'm happy to answer any questions. Let me see if I can see, or you can even drop your question in the chat if you're embarrassed to get on the screen. Oh, thanks, Andrew. Does anyone have any questions? Did anything come up for you? Anything you're curious about that you want to share? Don't be shy. This is an opportunity to be guided by me. If you feel up for it. Everyone feels good? There are a few people, I'm not going to call out any names. You can say something if you want, but there are some people that I've worked with in the past. And if you're open to sharing what the experience has been for you, that would be awesome too, if you feel open to it. Or ask a question, or have me coach you on a little something so people can get an experience of what it's like. Because the sessions are much different than just going through a slideshow and being taught to. It's like really going through things. I'm just going to check the chat. So for me, I'll just share with you the energy practices and everything that I do have helped me so much. And I've gone through and faced a lot of challenging times, and different things have happened. And I'm able to, again, like, respond to life's challenges instead of letting it totally knock me down. Like, can face some really big things, and I'm more resourced because I learned nervous system regulation. I learned somatics, a lot of things that have really helped me and how I navigate my life. And people will be so surprised. They'll be like, I didn't even know that was going on with you whenever we were together. Or like, I would even have coach clients after something really crazy has just happened in my life, but I'm able to be resourced and drop in and use my tools and come with that kind of energy to where I'm a safe space for the people that I'm working with and guiding. And so it's definitely been an honor to guide people. This really changed my life in the most beautiful ways. And I want other people to have the opportunity to understand how powerful they are. Yeah, Jordana, please ask a question. Jordana and I have been in many coaching programs together. The best coaches always have coaches. I have a coach right now, always.
Every My question I thought would be interesting also just to talk about on this call for you to
Yeah,
maybe
thank you,
talk
Jordana.
to is like I'm single and not really wanting to go out and date, but I still want to feel like all the creative juices and all the sexy energy of being in that
Yes.
without I'm just not necessarily interested in doing that at this moment. I'm curious what your advice would be to someone like me.
Yeah, my advice is one, going into the like self-love and even prioritizing your pleasure, like making that a priority. You should be at the top of your to-do list. And creating a date night for yourself. And do it where you have a nice bath, you can have a nice bubble bath, go eat some really healthy food. One thing, you're not going to want to eat foods that are really dense or heavy, because that makes all of our blood flow has to go to digest that really heavy, dense food. And then it pulls the blood flow away from our sex organs. It can keep men's erections from being strong. And it can also keep women's orgasms from being as strong, because the body, it needs to shunt all the blood flow to digest the food. That's the priority, right? So I know back in the day, it was like, oh, a steak, lobster dinner or
I
whatever.
love meat. What am I going to do?
Yeah, I'd love meat too, but eat something like meat
Early in the
a
day?
day. But when you're going to have the date, then do something where it's like, where it's more like fruit or salad or something like that. That's something lighter and easier for you. And then do the date night, have a nice bubble bath, then light some candles, play some amazing music. Just do everything for your senses. Do you want me to hold on? You okay?
Yeah, one sec. Let me just get my
Yeah,
phone.
of course. Little ones always want to come when it's these topics. They know. They're like, oh, there's some good information happening. It's okay. What I also encourage everyone to do is just wear something, and I'll just speak to everyone. I'll be careful on how I'm wording it. Just wear something that makes you feel like your sexy self, and play some music, dance, because that, especially if you dance and you move your hips like in a circle 8, you're getting the blood flow down to those areas, right? And you're getting the juices going. And then have a time where you're experiencing pleasure and take your time with yourself. A lot of times we know how to get from point A to point B. We know what turns us on. So we'll give ourselves a quickie. But if a lover was to take that little time with us, we would resent them and be like, that's it. That's all. So our bodies are like, that's it. That's all you're doing. So go and even do something almost I guide male clients on is edging, but even for women, imagine that at 0 is you're not turned on at all. 10 is where you're climaxing. So you want to have the pleasure and let the pleasure build to around like a 5 to a 7. Imagine on a pleasure scale. And you're going to stay a little more to 5, sometimes at 7. But if you stay at 7 too long, it can go really fast to 8, 9, 10. I want you to just try to stay like between a 5 and a 7 and let that pleasure build and build. And then I want you to imagine that you have a straw, because there's a channel where your chakras are called the Sushumna Nadi. And but to make it to simple, which means the inner flute. But just imagine you have a straw going from, for males or females, from genitals to the top of the head. And then as that pleasure is building, we're so used to letting that pleasure stay congested in our pelvic area. And that's where men can shoot it out faster than they want to as well. But what we want to do is we want to bring that with our breath and just our imagination, and bring any of those yummy feelings all up through the body and let it energize and charge up all your cells. You can even put one hand on the top of your head as a tactile stimulation and just imagine, okay, I'm breathing it all the way up to here. Or even sometimes if you're wanting to open your heart chakra, I'm just going to breathe it all and tap in your heart space and bring it up to here. and just breathe it up as it starts to build up higher, and allow it to imagine like you're breathing up to the top, and then like a waterfall, you exhale and you let it drop down the back of you. And it's in Taoist practice, this is called the microcosmic orbit. And you just allow this pleasures loop to loop around you, and see how long can you allow yourself to receive pleasure. Because our ability to receive pleasure is connected to our ability to receive money, our ability to manifest. It's how much can we allow ourselves to have the goodness. And if we're constantly pushing away good experiences and we deny ourselves pleasure, we deny ourselves compliments, someone tries to compliment us, we're like, oh, that old thing, or we say something self-deprecating. Or if we won't allow support or help from other people, like we can't receive. I'm always giving, I'm a giver, I'm always giving to you, but I can't receive. So this is a way for us to receive in a really big, juicy way, and to really expand how much we want to receive. Because we say we want a lot in this world, but do we have the body that can hold that? And we have both learned from Preston, he talks about that. It's like having that body that can really hold it. So even after you finish, then instead of jumping up to do cleanup or the next thing you need to do, allow yourself just to lay there and bathe in that pleasure of yourselves, and just breathe it all through your body of how amazing that is. It is so deeply healing. And just imagine it charging up all of your cells. And then you're going to notice that people will receive you in a different way. They won't even know why they're so drawn to you or why they're saying yes to you. Like at work, your work day could go a lot easier, and people will have no idea why, because you're shifting your energy. And it's so important. It's so important that we don't cut ourselves off from pleasure and from our sacral chakra energy, because this is how we stay in that juiciness. And I know you're super creative, expressive person, Jordana. Yeah.
Yeah, but we always need reminders.
Yeah. No, I know. I even need to remind myself too sometimes. Do you have any other questions?
That's really helpful.
Good. I'm glad you asked that. That's really great. I'm glad I got to share that. So here someone says, I've had a taste of what it feels like to be in a nice, loving relationship. And since having that experience, I find it hard to enjoy self-pleasure. What do you recommend? I don't want to have to chase and rely on a partner to feel that pleasure, but at the same time, I do want to find a partner. That makes sense. That makes sense. So first, again, like I shared earlier, you are your longest lasting relationship. So work on that relationship with yourself, because when you start to work on that relationship with yourself, that's when you attract a better relationship, because it attracts life. So start to treat yourself the way you would want the future person you're calling in to treat you. Show up for yourself that way, because you show the universe, source, what higher power, that's what you're ready for. And that you're able to receive it. You have space for that. First, start with yourself. And if you have to think of, I'm not a big fan of thinking of the ex, but if just to get the party started, if there's a certain memory or a thought, definitely it's not good for males to watch adult videos, because that leads to there's higher and higher incidences in younger males to have ED from dependence on having all of this visual stimuli all the time. But if it's just a still image or a photo to get things going, I would definitely start to do that, because you don't want to disconnect from your pleasure. And you want to feel in contact with that and not feel shut off or shut down. Because then when you're shutting down, I've also worked with men that start to have ED because they want to be such safe spaces for women, and not to be like the man that's trying to bust the move all the time, that they're completely like flatlining their action down there, because they're like being like too controlling of it. And then when they want to turn it on, now it needs a jump start. It's not working for them. Again, your pleasure is so important. That's why I don't believe in no fap for men and things like that, because pleasure is medicine. So if you start to be your own best lover, you will attract a better lover. So do that, and do that for you as a self-loving practice. That's how it would start. And it might be challenging at first, but just keep leaning into it. I also have a healing from heartbreak masterclass too, because man, heartbreak is so painful. And when you've had a really healthy relationship, and especially if you've had a tantra lover, it really makes it challenging to do like the ordinary things that we've been conditioned to do. So I'm not going to settle for that. Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions or anything they want to share? I'm glad that was helpful.
I can share on camera.
Yes. Yeah, I would love for you to. Hold on one second. Thank you. 1 second. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
I started a healing journey about 2.5 years ago by working with you, Dominic. And yeah, holy shit, it's the real deal, man.
I appreciate you sharing that, my friend.
Yeah, it's been a divine journey in so many different ways. And just where it took me was to become a practitioner myself. I'm still working some of the details out on that, but I was able to lead a meditation journey this summer at a retreat and have connected deeply to myself and to a partner, which is phenomenal. Where it's beyond phenomenal when you can call that in and find that. So yeah, it's a beautiful moment to see you again and to hear your coaching again, receive your coaching again, breathe that in. And it called back a lot of good memories and is much appreciated. So
Oh, thank you. And I appreciate you sharing that. What you look radically different in the best kind of way,
thank you.
like more of a free spirit, right?
Yes.
Like more of your authentic self, I feel is shining through.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
I like
thank
that.
you.
I see you, my friend.
I appreciate
What
that.
what do you, if you don't mind sharing, what do you think some of the biggest shifts were for you that maybe you weren't expecting to experience, if you're just open to, if anything pops through? Because I know there's been a lot for you.
I was trying to summarize that. I go into these long 20-minute conversations to describe things, which sometimes, but the short version is the 2.5 years since I started working with you and then working on my own to carry out those practices and figure out how to utilize them in a daily way. Or it feels like I've gone through 20 years of growth in those 2.5 years.
Thank you. See, that's what I'm saying. Like you
Yeah.
can do this journey and do things like try to go on your own, but it can take so much longer. But whenever I work with people and people that are really open, a lot of times I want to imagine like a jar and it has a label on it. When you're inside, you can't read the contents of the jar. And you can't see your own blind spots. That's why I have coaches to help me see my blind spots. But then when I work with someone, I can see and sense things and then guide and go in and be like, oh, this is the challenge. And these are the things after doing tens of thousands of hours and all this money I've invested in learning my stuff. I'll know, boom, these are the things that can get you there. And since I worked with you, now I'm a trauma informed master coach. So now my level of coaching is like completely off the charts. I went through a whole year of a very intense program. And yeah, there's no one that could be in front of me, a billionaire, no one. I could coach them so good. But compressing that time and making those quantum leaps and those shifts is amazing. I love
Yeah.
that for you. Thank you. We'll definitely have to catch up outside of here and we'll have a conversation soon. I would love to do that.
Awesome. Thank
Thank you
you.
for sharing. I really appreciate that because a lot of times people don't know what to expect and the fear of the unknown, or is this really anything that would be good for me or not? And then that can make the doubt come up. So I really appreciate you being able to share. Thank you, my friend. Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions that they want to share? Nope. I'm going to be, if you didn't get to join in early on, there will be a replay that will be sent out. So that'll be up for the next few days. And then if you're thinking you want to be in the mastermind and you're not sure about it, you want to have a conversation with me, reach out to me. Also, we can have a call and talk about it. And if you know that's a yes for you and you want to jump in, then you can jump in and sign up and save an extra $1,000 until Sunday. But this is going to be a really intense program, but in the best possible way so that you can make those big shifts and have tools to where you can start to have massive change in your life. Can you imagine feeling like just within 2 years time that you've done 20 years of work on yourself? That is incredible. And those are the experiences that I've had with this. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing it with everyone. I just want to thank you so much for you spending your time and sharing your energy with me today. It's really a big deal. I was so excited before this began because I was thinking, just imagine imagine this many people just coming to visit me at my house. That's really exciting. And so and also protect your energy. But it's really great to be around people that are wanting to raise their energy, wanting to raise their vibration, and just curious about learning new things, because there's so much power within you, and you have this buried treasure within you. And I just want to help you to explore that and bring that up to the surface so you can be in your fullest, most authentic expression and really be unfuckwithable and live a very passionate life, because life is way too short. And so many of the times we will stay stuck or stagnant because we worry about what people think, but people really aren't worrying about you. They're so self-absorbed and worrying about themselves, and you're ripping yourself off. I can't tell you how many patients I've had that they held themselves back in life, but when they were, at the end of their life, the people they were worrying about judging them weren't coming and visiting them at the hospital. They weren't even thinking about them. But you just sacrificed your whole life and what that could have been for you because you're worried about what other people think. And I don't want you to have that awareness when it's too late. I would rather you tap into your fullest potential and expression, even if it's not with me, if it's someone else that you trust. Like these things have shifted my life in the most beautiful ways. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Sending everyone so much love.